"You're not cleared, Albright." Supervisor Carmichael's warning was ice in the chaotic ER. But the Marine on Anna's gurney was dying, his lifeblood staining the linoleum. Anna Albright, 42, a seasoned ER nurse at Patriot General Hospital, made a choice that would cost her everything, or so she thought. The Saturday night shift was already a battlefield. Port City's ER was drowning in the usual weekend tide of trauma and tragedy. Just past midnight, the relative calm shattered. The ambulance bay doors burst open with a jarring thud, a gust of cold, rain-laced air heralding the arrival of two grim-faced paramedics. On their stretcher lay a young man, barely breathing, his body a mangled ruin. "Code red," one paramedic barked, his voice strained. "Male, mid-20s. No ID. Unresponsive, massive chest trauma, possible shrapnel. Vitals crashing." All eyes turned. Anna stepped forward, her breath catching. The patient's face was a swollen, unrecognizable mask of blood and grime. His uniform, or what remained of it, was shredded and soaked. But it was the glint of metal on his chest that seized her attention, a dog tag, twisted and smeared, engraved with a simple line, "L. Jackson, U.S. Marine." A shiver traced her spine. This wasn't just another trauma, this was one of America's own. "He's military," someone whispered. "Where's the official notification?" "Any escort?" another nurse asked, her voice tight with apprehension. "None," the lead paramedic replied grimly. "Found him dumped near the docks. Alone. No comms, no backup." The air in the ER thickened. Nurses exchanged uneasy glances. Even Helen Carmichael, the usually decisive night supervisor, hesitated, her brow furrowed with concern. "We don't have clearance," she stated, her voice low but firm. "He could be involved in a classified situation, federal implications. We need to wait for authorization before initiating anything beyond basic stabilization." Anna stared at her supervisor in disbelief. "Wait." The man on the gurney was fading, his pulse a thready whisper against her fingertips, his breathing shallow, his skin taking on a deathly pallor. "He's crashing," a tech called out, his eyes glued to the monitor. "BP 60 over palp, pulse thready at 140. Anna didn't wait. She couldn't. Protocol be damned. "Prep trauma bay 3, she commanded, her voice cutting through the room's anxious paralysis like a scalpel. "I need a full trauma kit, O-negative blood, chest tubes, and a surgical consult, stat." Carmichael raised a hand, her expression a mixture of warning and worry. "Anna, I'm ordering you to stand down. You are not cleared for this level of intervention without authorization. This could have serious repercussions. He'll be dead in 10 minutes if we wait for paperwork." Anna snapped back, her eyes blazing with a fierce resolve. "We don't have the luxury of time." For a heart-stopping moment, no one moved. Then, as if her urgency was a tangible force, the team galvanized. Wheels shrieked as they raced the dying Marine towards the trauma bay. Anna followed, adrenaline afire in her veins, her mind already cataloging the life-saving steps she needed to take. Inside Trauma Bay 3, orchestrated chaos erupted. Anna, gloves already on, began barking orders, her years of ER experience taking command. "Gauze. Suction. Get me a clearer view of these chest wounds." Beneath the layers of blood and shredded fabric, jagged pieces of metal protruded from the Marine's rib cage, embedded deep within the muscle. Blood pulsed rhythmically from the wounds with each fading heartbeat. Anna clenched her jaw, her focus absolute. Vitals BP 50 over 30 and dropping. "Sats at 78 and falling," the tech announced, his voice grim. Anna barely registered the numbers. The world outside the sterile confines of the trauma bay dissolved. There was only her, the dying Marine, and the desperate battle for his life. Scalpel. Clamps. More suction. Each command was precise, delivered with an unwavering authority that belied the tremor in her own hands. She worked with a focused intensity, extracting shard after shard of shrapnel, her fingers slick with blood, sweat stinging her eyes. The heart monitor shrieked an erratic rhythm, then flatlined. "He's coding. Starting compressions." Anna yelled, throwing her weight onto his chest. "Charge to 200. Silence. Again. 250. Clear." The Marine's body arched. A flicker on the monitor, then a beep, soft, stubborn, precious. "We have a pulse." Hours blurred. Stitching torn muscle, inserting chest tubes, transfusing blood. Finally, after 3.5 grueling hours, the worst was over. The room fell quiet, the team exhausted but awed. Anna peeled off her bloodied gloves, staring at the man whose life she'd clawed back from the brink. His eyelids fluttered. He looked up, his gaze locking with hers for a fragile second. His lips moved, a whisper more breath than sound. She leaned closer. "Thank you." Relief, profound and overwhelming, washed over her. He would live. But as the adrenaline faded, a cold dread settled in. She had saved a life, yes, but she had shattered every rule in the book to do it. Dawn cast a bleak, gray light over Port City. The ER, now eerily still, hummed with the low thrum of machinery. Anna, running on fumes and lukewarm coffee, stood near the recovery wing, watching the steady rise and fall of Leon Jackson's chest through the small window of his room. He was alive. A quiet triumph swelled within her, a fierce pride in the choice she had made. The intercom crackled, summoning her to the hospital administrator's office. The warmth vanished, replaced by a knot of apprehension. She'd expected a reprimand, a formal review perhaps, but the tone of the summons felt ominous, final. The walk down the sterile corridor was a gauntlet of averted gazes and strained, curt nods from colleagues. Chief Administrator Helen Carmichael and the hospital's legal counsel, Mr. Davies, a man whose smile never quite reached his eyes, were waiting. "Ms. Albright," Carmichael began, her voice devoid of warmth, "while your intentions last night may have been commendable, your actions were a flagrant violation of established hospital and federal protocols." "He was dying," Anna stated, her voice quiet but firm. Mr. Davies cleared his throat. "Ms. Albright, this institution operates under strict guidelines, especially concerning unidentified individuals with potential military or federal connections. You acted without clearance, without authorization, and you exposed this hospital to significant legal and operational risks." Emotionally understandable, perhaps, Carmichael conceded coolly, but professionally indefensible. "You are an excellent nurse, Anna, but rules exist for a reason." Then, the hammer fell. "Therefore, your employment with Patriot General Hospital is terminated, effective immediately." The words hung in the air. Terminated. For saving a man's life. She walked out in a daze, her badge surrendered, her career in tatters. On the curb outside, the city's roar felt muted. "All I did," she whispered to the indifferent morning, "was save a life." The following morning found Anna in her small, cluttered Queens apartment, the termination letter a lead weight in her gut. Sleep had been a cruel mirage. She nursed a cup of cold coffee, the Marine's dog tag, L. Jackson, U.S. Marine, cool against her palm. She'd inexplicably kept it after the chaos, a tangible link to the man she'd saved, the life-altering decision she'd made, and the career she'd lost. It felt like both a trophy and a curse. A sudden stillness fell over her normally bustling street. She glanced out her window. One black SUV, then another, and another, rolled silently to a stop in front of her building. Men in dark suits emerged, their movements precise, their faces impassive. Neighbors peeked from behind curtains, a sense of unease rippling through the building. This wasn't local police. This felt different. Heavier. A sharp, authoritative knock echoed through her apartment. Not a friendly rap, but a summons. Heart hammering, Anna peered through the peephole. A man in a perfectly tailored black suit, dark sunglasses obscuring his eyes, stood ramrod straight. 2 more flanked him, earpieces glinting, posture unyielding. This wasn't about a noise complaint. Her hand trembled as she unlatched the door a cautious inch. "Miss Anna Albright?" the man in the center asked, his voice formal, devoid of inflection. "Why yes," she managed, acutely aware of her faded pajama pants and wrinkled t-shirt. "I'm Agent Porter, United States Secret Service," he stated, flashing a badge that glinted ominously. "You are requested at the White House. Immediately." Anna blinked, the words failing to connect. I'm sorry, what? The White House? "The President of the United States would like to speak with you," Agent Porter repeated, his tone leaving no room for argument. About what?" she stammered, her mind reeling. Had she done something more wrong than she realized? Was this about the Marine? Agent Porter tilted his head slightly. "I'm not at liberty to disclose the details, ma'am. It's a matter of national importance." He paused. "We understand this is sudden. You'll have time to change in the vehicle if necessary. We need to leave now." Confusion warred with a dawning, terrifying sense of unreality. Fired one day, summoned by the president the next. It felt like a fever dream. She looked down at the dog tag still clutched in her hand. Taking a shaky breath, she grabbed a small bag, threw in the tag, and quickly changed into jeans and a clean blouse. The ride to D.C. was a blur of tinted windows, silent, imposing agents, and the surreal feeling of being swept into events far beyond her control. No sirens, just an unnerving, silent priority as traffic parted before them. Why her? What could the president possibly want with a fired ER nurse from Queens? The weight of the unknown pressed down on her, as heavy and cold as the dog tag in her purse. The White House. It loomed before her, impossibly grand, a symbol of power and history that made her feel infinitesimally small. The sterile, imposing corridors echoed with the ghosts of decisions that had shaped the world. Portraits of past presidents seemed to watch her with solemn, knowing eyes as she was escorted by 2 stoic aides. Her own footsteps on the polished marble floor sounded unnervingly loud in the hallowed silence. Her heart hammered against her ribs like a trapped bird. Inside her purse, her fingers found the cool metal of Leon Jackson's dog tag, a strange anchor in this disorienting sea of grandeur and apprehension. They stopped before a set of imposing double doors. One of the aides offered a small, unreadable smile. "He's waiting for you, Ms. Albright." The doors opened, and there he was. The President of the United States. Taller than he appeared on television, leaner, with the almost palpable weight of the world etched into the lines around his eyes. He stood near the historic resolute desk, his hands clasped behind his back, his presence filling the room. As Anna stepped hesitantly across the threshold, he turned, a flicker of something unreadable in his gaze. "Ms. Albright," he said, his voice low, steady, carrying an undercurrent of deep emotion. "Thank you for coming on such short notice." Anna swallowed, her throat dry. "Mr. President," she managed, her own voice barely a whisper. She wasn't sure whether to bow, curtsy, or simply stand frozen. He gestured to a chair. "Please, sit." She did, perching on the edge of the plush leather, her hands clenched so tightly in her lap her knuckles were white. The president didn't sit. He paced for a moment, a lion in a gilded cage, then stopped, his gaze locking onto hers, intense and searching. "Ms. Albright," he began, his voice now raw with an emotion that stunned her into silence, "2 nights ago, in the ER at Patriot General Hospital, you saved a young Marine's life." Anna nodded mutely, her heart pounding. "That Marine," the president continued, his voice cracking almost imperceptibly, "is my son. Leon." The words hit Anna with the force of a physical blow. The president's son. The unidentified Marine, L. Jackson, dumped near the docks, clinging to life, was the child of the most powerful man in the world. Her mind struggled to reconcile the image of the bloodied, broken young man on her gurney with the unimaginable reality of his identity. I didn't know, sir," she stammered, her voice faint. "I had no idea." He nodded slowly, a ghost of a smile touching his lips. "That, Ms. Albright, is precisely what makes your actions so extraordinary. When protocol dictated hesitation, when bureaucracy might have condemned him, you didn't waver. You saw a dying man, a United States Marine, and you acted. Without approval, without hesitation, driven solely by your skill and your conscience." He paused, his gaze holding hers. "And because of you, Ms. Albright, my son is alive today." Just then, the door opened again, and the First Lady entered. Elegant, poised, but with eyes that mirrored the President's deep, raw emotion. The moment their eyes met, Anna instinctively rose. The First Lady crossed the room in a rustle of silk and pulled Anna into a surprisingly fierce, heartfelt embrace. "You didn't just save a soldier," she whispered, her voice thick with unshed tears. "You gave us back our child." Tears welled in Anna's eyes, a release of the tension and fear she'd carried for 2 unbearable days. As the First Lady stepped back, her own eyes shimmering, the President cleared his throat. "We've brought you here today, Ms. Albright, not just to offer our profound, personal gratitude, but to honor your exceptional courage and dedication." On cue, several members of the White House press corps were quietly ushered into the room, cameras clicking softly. An aide entered last, carrying a velvet box. Anna looked at the President, bewildered. He simply nodded towards another aide, who unfurled a document on an easel, emblazoned with the presidential seal. For acts of extraordinary bravery in a moment of critical peril, the President began, his voice resonating with solemn authority as he read from the prepared citation. "For placing humanity and the Hippocratic Oath above procedural impediment, and for saving the life of a United States Marine under the most challenging of circumstances, it is my distinct honor, on behalf of a grateful nation, to award the Presidential Medal of Valor to Nurse Anna Albright." The room erupted in a flurry of camera flashes. Anna's breath caught. The Presidential Medal of Valor, a high civilian honor she'd only read about. "Sir, I don't deserve this," she whispered, overwhelmed. "Yes, Anna, you do," the First Lady said firmly, her hand gently on Anna's arm. The President carefully lifted the medal from its case, the burnished gold star and deep blue ribbon glinting under the lights. "Stand tall, Miss Albright," he said, his voice imbued with deep respect. He stepped forward and placed the medal around her neck. Its weight was surprising, substantial. But that's not all, the President continued, a rare, genuine smile spreading across his face as the applause subsided. "This administration believes in recognizing and elevating individuals of exceptional character and skill. Effective immediately, Nurse Anna Albright is appointed to the position of head nurse of the White House Medical Unit." Anna swayed slightly, her mind struggling to process the enormity of it all. "Sir, I was fired. I'm not even employed right now." "You are now, Ms. Albright," the President stated with a decisive nod. The First Lady added, "You'll be provided with appropriate housing and full support. You deserve a life of purpose, Anna, not punishment." An aide presented her with a folder containing the official appointment. From dismissed outcast to a position of national trust, all within 24 chaotic hours. This wasn't just vindication, it was a breathtaking, life-altering transfiguration. The news of Anna's dramatic turnaround, from fired nurse to national hero and White House appointee, spread like wildfire. Accolades poured in, but so did the whispers. Some former colleagues at Patriot General, perhaps fueled by jealousy or a rigid adherence to the rules she'd broken, murmured about luck, about the Marine's influential father. Online forums dissected her story, some questioning the unprecedented nature of her appointment. Anna heard the sotto voce criticisms. They stung, a dull ache reminding her that even heroism could beget resentment. But the cynicism of a few couldn't overshadow the genuine gratitude of a nation, nor the profound sense of duty that now defined her days. She poured herself into her new role at the White House Medical Unit with the same quiet competence and unwavering dedication that had always characterized her, earning the respect of her new colleagues through skill and integrity, her inner resilience a quiet rebuke to the doubters. Months into her new life, a life she could never have imagined, Anna found herself reflecting on the young, overwhelmed nurses she'd seen struggling in understaffed ERs, much like she herself had once struggled. She remembered the fear, the crushing responsibility, the desperate need for support that often went unanswered. Her own improbable journey, from the ashes of a ruined career to this pinnacle of service, ignited a desire to lift others as she had been lifted. Quietly, without fanfare or press releases, Anna Albright established the Phoenix Grant. Using her own resources and leveraging her newfound, albeit unsought, influence to attract discreet donations, she created a scholarship fund for underprivileged nursing students, those with the heart and the talent, but not the means. She reviewed applications personally, reading stories of struggle and aspiration that mirrored her own past, sending out letters of acceptance that offered not just financial aid, but a powerful message: you are seen. Your dedication matters. Keep fighting. It was her way of ensuring that other dedicated healers wouldn't be extinguished by a rigid system. A year later, the South Lawn of the White House was arrayed for the inaugural event of the White House Healthcare Mentorship Initiative, a program Anna had passionately championed and helped design. As she stood ready to address the new cohort of bright-eyed medical professionals, a familiar figure strode onto the stage, Lance Corporal Leon Jackson, USMC, fully recovered, resplendent in his dress blues. The crowd rose in a wave of applause. But Leon's eyes were only for Anna. He walked directly to her, and in front of the assembled dignitaries, the press, and the nation watching via broadcast, he rendered a crisp, formal salute. Not to a superior officer, but to the woman who had defied the odds to save his life. I asked to speak today, Leon said, his voice clear and strong as he turned to the microphone, because when I woke up in that hospital, I learned my unit had been ambushed. I shouldn't have been alive. His gaze found Anna's again. But I was. Because of one person. Nurse Albright didn't just save my life. When the system faltered, she acted. When she was punished for it, she didn't break, she rose. She is the standard of courage and compassion we should all aspire to. Tears streamed down Anna's face as Leon's words washed over her, a final, public absolution, a testament to her unwavering spirit. This was more than honor, it was a profound, deeply resonant validation that echoed far beyond the White House lawns. Her journey had come full circle, not to an end, but to a new, more luminous beginning. If Anna's incredible story of courage and redemption inspired you, please like this video, share it, and subscribe for more powerful narratives. What part of Anna's journey moved you the most? Let us know respectfully in the comments below.